We'll see if this mouse is working here. So I'm going to talk about a very fishy partnership, a collaboration between charity and business. There we go. So just to give you a brief outline of the presentation, I'm first of all going to discuss what a university is. This stems from the discussion that Gillian and I had when we were talking about what this presentation would be, because we could present a university perhaps in two different ways, either as a business or a charity. So I'll outline some of those points, give you a bit more about the Institute of Aquaculture, and then talk about the opportunity specifically, giving you some details of what we're doing in Uganda and how we're engaging the different partners, the farm we're building, the community that we're engaging, the market that we're in, and how we finance the project. And then briefly, the lessons that I feel we've learnt, although we may discuss those a little bit more in the discussion period. So, a university, obviously we know they're research, teaching and training places. We do knowledge exchange, it's a two-way process. We are a not-for-profit business and we are a registered charity. So, in some respects, like many other NIDOS members. Many universities also have international development groups, not necessarily the focus of the whole institution, but a lot of expertise exists, and we are keen to get our research into use very often in developing country contexts, so going back to the knowledge exchange. But as I mentioned, there are a few conflicting views from business and NGOs about exactly where we stand. But today I'm going to present our work, our engagement as a charity, because we are linking with a business for this opportunity in Uganda. So the Institute of Aquaculture, we're a world-leading research and training centre, a great export for Scotland. We're linked, our growth, our history is linked with the growth of the Scottish salmon industry, trout and shellfish sectors. We have trained many world leaders, I should qualify that, that's aquaculture related world leaders. The majority of our students in early days came from from developing countries, and we now see many of our students back in high-level government and commercial positions, making direct changes to the countries that they came from. We have managed different research programs over the years. Aquaculture, as a science, is very applied. It's very near business anyway. We have a lot of relationships with businesses in Scotland and all around the world. And we ourselves operate a few small businesses. We have some fish farms and a small vaccine company as well that provide income for us to use, but also provide us with facilities for research and teaching. All this expertise means that we are often approached to be partners in various projects, but normally the university is quite risk averse and doesn't really want to jump in with both feet into an opportunity, particularly a commercial opportunity. But I showed some interest, and the managers at the university said, yeah, we'll take a risk this time, we've got a little bit of finance available, we'll back you on this. So a gentleman came and knocked on the door one day and said, do you want to come and be a partner in a fish farm in Uganda? So to provide primarily the technical input into what we hope, we're still not there, will become the largest fish farm in Africa. This builds on our expertise, interest and experience already in Africa, where we have a history and training background, but we also manage research and business networks across the continent already. We like the project that was proposed because it has very much a community development project focus, whilst having a core business focus, and we felt it was quite a novel approach, a core business with a network of outgrowers around it, who would also be owners of the core business. And of course, we're a university. It provides us with new research opportunities. It provides us with new training opportunities, and with any luck it may provide us with some income in the future. So the company that came and knocked on our door was called Business Minds, and we have now signed an agreement with them. Well, we signed one in the early days, we've progressed that recently, to develop a company that was unnamed originally but is now called Africa Fish. Business Minds is a group of only 4 or 5 people who have already developed something called Africa Juice, which is a juice farm in Ethiopia based on a similar model to what we're doing in fish now. So they have a track record, they have a bit of experience, and I guess they felt we had a track record and a bit of experience. So Africa Fish will initially be based around one farm in Uganda, something called Scapa at the moment, although we will develop other farms in other countries, or perhaps to supply further into the Ugandan market in the coming years. As well as the production facility, we will develop a processing and marketing company, and I think this is something that a lot of particularly sort of academic research type people often forget, is that we're out there to produce a product to get into market, and we're not just interested in the biology, the science of growing fish. It's a practical commodity that's got to get out there. So, and all of this will involve the local community. They're the third partner along the top, although we haven't got them a shiny logo yet. And it will be a two-way process. The local community will have a stake in the core businesses that will be supported by donor contributions, we hoped, from DFID, but there have been a few headaches with that. So the Dutch government have generously stepped in. And one of the core things at the centre of this business is the social value. I was sceptical personally at the start about how a community-based business could operate, because we've had experience of small local community-based businesses that have failed for various reasons in many locations around the world. But this model is set out, and the team in Business Minds have a very realistic approach to what a community-based business could look like, or a business that involves a community, and what the returns could be. So just to give you a little bit of info, it's in Uganda. It's about 50 kilometres north of Jinja. And the site generally, I'll show you some more pictures in a second, but the site generally is marginally grazed scrubland. The site is currently owned. It's not a large community site. It is currently owned by a group of 10 individuals who are not big, wealthy individuals. They've just amassed land into their old age. There's a couple of 100 hectares here. So we have a water supply that we've tested and we know is fine and clean. We've got a lot of land clearing to do to develop the ponds and the tanks for this site. But there is already a very small fish farm that operates there. So that gave us a little bit of a basis to start from, and over the last couple of years has given us as a university a chance to send some students out for both training opportunities and business development opportunities. So the species will be mainly catfish. We have an ambition of 6,000 tonnes. At least half of that will come from outgrowers. There'll also be some crops and some livestock on the farm, as well as some tilapia in ponds. So the local community that we're involving is generally dispersed, but some of them are already small-scale fish producers. They've formed an association which we will enlarge and support over the coming years, and we will engage them as outgrowers. So we will facilitate their seed supply, we will facilitate their feed stock for their fish, but most importantly we will facilitate them in the marketing, and they will provide us hopefully with a quality product. And they will be shareholders in the core businesses, particularly the processing and marketing business. So we did a detailed market assessment. The fish is locally appealing, limited competition at the moment, particularly for the quality and the regularity of supply that we are proposing from this business. We're looking to grow the market and develop a retail and distribution network. And I think at this point I want to point out that this business is not just about small farmers or big farmers. There are opportunities for poor people throughout Uganda to be involved in this business as traders, as retailers, people who will operate small market stalls in distributed networks around the country, and we will provide the supply infrastructure to support that development. And we may look to export a smoked product possibly, depending on market opportunities at the time. So finance for this, the University of Stirling and Business Minds put in a few tens of £1,000s and quite a lot of time to get the whole business plan written. It has been a huge learning curve for us. But now we have a loan from the East African Development Bank. We have equity that has come from a regional development fund that originates in the UK. It's one of Lord Sainsbury's charitable foundations. We have grants from the Dutch government, and if we can twist arms hard enough, maybe DFID. And we have put our own time and money into the whole process. So the farm now, we will have a pot of about $5 million to build this farm. So a few brief lessons, benefits to Stirling, where we've capitalised on our other work. It gives us research and training opportunities. Hopefully gives us a future income, but most importantly and immediately it's given us business experience and quite a lot of business confidence as well. Not just for me and the small team who've been involved in this, but actually for some of my colleagues who are very sceptical to start with as well. The partnership has worked well. There has been a strong push from the commercial partner, which has kept us all on our toes, as it were. We've had a good support from the university management, which was a little bit of a surprise to start with, and we now have an operational business, so something must have worked, albeit a small start. So what would we do? What would we do differently next time? Well, I'd negotiate harder on the share that the university got out of it. A bit better value for our intellectual property, maybe. And would we do it again? Well, I think we would do it again, but we're in a funding crisis at the moment all round, and the university has gone back to having a more risk-averse view of things because there isn't spare cash lying around. But overall, yes, I think we would do it again, particularly if it pays off this time. So, thank you very much.